Know that this is not the first time that Trump has taken, these legal matters to social media, immediately kind of preempting us finding out in any other way by saying this himself. Sources tell NBC News that the target letter was sent to Trump last weekend. What does it mean that the special counsel sent a target letter to former President Trump? And what should we expect moving forward? I know that the word target is very specific.
It is. Informally, there are three categories that someone can be in the eyes of the Department of Justice. You can be a target, a subject, or a witness. And DOJ officials and AUSAs are quick to tell you that this is not a hard and fast rule. And frankly, this is something that is very fluid. Someone, for example, that is merely a witness, the lowest level of criminal culpability, could come in and testify and reveal something very damaging and go from witness to target, which is the highest level of prospective criminal culpability in this very informal labeling system. But all the target letter does is inform the person that they are the target of an investigation. It asks them usually to preserve all their evidence, and thirdly, to give a call to the AUSA. Of course, if they want to come in theory, they can come in, sit down, and talk with the AUSA, with the government. That almost never happens. As an attorney, if my client has a target letter and they're a target of an investigation, they're almost certain to be a criminal defendant anyway. So there's 0.0 point in me walking him in there to sit down and possibly give the government more information that can be used against him.
And then also, just very quickly, the language in the Truth Social post from the former president was that almost always means that arrest and indictment. It seems like we're all in agreement that that is the case.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's very rare that somebody is a target and then they get downgraded to a subject or a witness. And especially in this case, look, this is not the ordinary case. All of these cases against Trump. Keep in mind that every prosecutor, federal or state, that is working on this case or heading up an investigation wants to make sure their case is airtight before they go after the most elusive criminal defendant in American history. Someone, I mean, there may never have been another criminal defendant like this who, just by voting indications alone, might have arguably half the jury from the moment he gets in there, if, for example, half the jury voted Republican. So this is going to be a very difficult case for any prosecutor, irrespective of the charges. So you must assume that if they've deemed him a target at this point, they are very unlikely to downgrade that, to learn something revelatory from Donald Trump. If he came in to talk to them and he explained his side of the story, it's very unlikely that the government would say, oh, you know, the way you put it, maybe you aren't so guilty in our minds anymore.
Right.
So don't listen to what these former federal prosecutors, who are my friends and I love them dearly, don't listen to what they tell you, that there's a possibility that they could reconsider this if Trump came in and talked to them. They're not reconsidering anything. If Trump's a target, it is highly, 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 highly likely that he is going to be charged.
So then that would be a third indictment and second federal. How do you manage these simultaneous investigations, potential trials, and then also, of course, there's a campaign going on, by the way. But what does that look like, those all at the same time? I
mean, this is something only someone with the resources of a Donald Trump could really even begin to handle. Yeah, sure, if an indigent criminal defendant had all these cases pending, they would have court-appointed counsel. But, I mean, Donald Trump has so many complex cases in different jurisdictions that he has to deal with. I mean, you generally need someone local in that area, so he's got to have a team that has boots on the ground, but also they have to be, at least on some level, communicating with each other for planning purposes alone, for scheduling purposes. I mean, there are so many issues going on here, it's hard to even keep them all straight just in terms of scheduling court appearances, because it's not just trial, it's all these hearings that are pending. And to the extent some of these cases overlap, everyone needs to make sure they have not just a cohesive defense team, but that they stay on message and that they're consistent throughout their defense.
All right, Danny Savalos, as always, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.